Hello, welcome to Sideways. I'm just standing here under a tree sheltering from the rain. So I thought it would be a good time to tell you what's on this week's show. Well, this time we're talking about the damage we do to ourselves and other people when we allow our mistaken, conscious and unconscious beliefs to dictate the way we think and behave. And if all that sounds a bit highbrow and serious, don't worry, because we're also discussing the Easter Bunny, sweary parrots, Martin's hatred of Genesis, the band, not the book of the Bible, the liturgical calendar, and why Maltesers can sometimes be painful. Preconceived ideas. I'll let you listen to the rain.
Morning. I'm laughing because you've got a virtual set of bunny ears and mouth on, haven't you?
Yeah, well, it's Easter, isn't it? I'm the Easter Bunny this morning.
Yeah, it suits you, sir. It looks very good.
Thanks. Happy Easter.
And happy Easter to you.
Christ is risen.
He has. And I'm pleased to see that you're taking it seriously then. With your...
Well, I don't. What are you suggesting that Jesus would be against the Easter Bunny?
No, I think it's lost its true message, isn't it? Really.
What, with the Easter Bunny?
Yeah.
Well, the Easter Bunny traditionally brings Easter eggs, doesn't he? And an egg is a sign of rebirth. So I reckon there's an, albeit tenuous, there is a link there.
There is a tenuous link. I remember being told that the egg sort of represented the stone that was rolled away from the tomb.
Really?
Jesus' tomb, yeah.
Who told you that? Gangan?
Probably Gangan was one of her interpretations, yeah.
Well, I can remember at church they used to give out sugared almonds, not at Easter, but some other time. Maybe it was on Palm Sunday. And the idea being that a sugared almond is a representation of new life. And I always thought to myself, why not just, give people eggs? Because it's a much easier one to grasp, isn't it?
It is. Or just play New Life by Depeche Mode on loop.
You get the organist to play it.
Yeah.
Get the choir to do a rendition of it.
That'd be better than some of the dusty old hymns you used to have to sing.
Yeah. Well, actually, on the radio this morning, I was driving back with the dogs and I was listening to the morning service, as you do. Okay, which, funny enough, was from Canterbury Cathedral. And I was thinking about the fact that it didn't cost me 11 quid to listen to it. And the first hymn they sang on Easter morning was Jesus Christ is risen today. Do you know that one? Jesus Christ is risen today.
Oh, yeah.
That one.
I do now. Which
is a lovely hymn, and I was thinking this is quite good. And if they started with that and then followed up with Depeche Mode,
it would have covered all bases, wouldn't it?
Banger of a service, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd go to that.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't be able to have the blood of Christ, though.
No, I wouldn't. No, and I haven't. No, that's.
You could have double body, perhaps, couldn't you? You could say, "Could I have a couple of wafers and none of the wine?"
Yeah, make up for the. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like Paul, your late brother used to do when we used to go in the kebab shop after the pub. When they used to say, "Do you want salad?" He used to say, "No, I'll have extra meat."
Extra meat instead. Yeah. He's very much the carnivore.
I thought. It always made me laugh because I thought it was an interesting take to think that substituting a bit of lettuce for some more meat was a reasonable swap.
Although you can just buy kebab meat on its own these days, can't you? Kebab meat and chips.
Yeah, well, everything's changed, hasn't it, these days?
It has. Anyway, what I was going to talk to you about today was preconceived ideas.
Okay. What about Easter?
Well, yeah, and it sort of fed into that narrative to an extent, didn't it?
I suppose it did, yeah.
Yeah, but this is an idea that I had kicking around for some time before you bullied me, do you remember, into going back and looking at some of the basics of recovery?
Well, it was a suggestion I made, let's be clear.
Well, I don't know. It's a bit more forceful now, if I recall correctly, which I'm sure I do. Although it is very relevant, this preconceived idea, because it is very relevant to those who are tinkering with the idea, perhaps, of that recovery is necessary. It's the way forward. But there's certain preconceived ideas, and we did touch on that fairly recently. about some of those in recovery, but it's worth looking at again. But before we start, do you remember you told us a story a couple of episodes ago? And I think it was, look, I've got a separate note here. Oh, yeah, season 7, episode 5, which was on the cause of relapse. And you told us the story about that chap in Bristol.
Oh, yeah.
Who dragged a piano onto the green.
And got punched in the head.
And then he got punched in the head. Well, I had a message from one of our listeners, and I didn't get permission to use his name, so I won't say who it was that told me this, but he knows the guy.
No,
yeah,
get out.
Yeah. He knows the guy. He's played in a band with him.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So
wow.
He told me his name and everything, but again, but he also said, because he messaged me this, and he said, "There's more to it. I'll let you know when I meet up with you." So I see him at meetings from time to time. So there may be more to come on that.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good. So that's good. We'll watch this space then.
We may have some inside info on that, but it may be something that I can't put on the podcast anyway. But well,
you can tell me.
I can tell you, perhaps. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a therapist, so I'm a professional secret keeper.
Oh yes, you are. You're very good at that, aren't you? But so that wasn't really an animal story this week, was it?
I've got an animal story.
Please do.
I read this story recently about how some parrots in Lincolnshire Wildlife Park had to be removed from display because they kept swearing at visitors. They were telling children to fuck off and stuff. Which I suppose if you're taking your children off for a day in the wildlife park, it's probably not what you do. I mean, it is funny. It would be funny if you or I were told to F off by a parrot, wouldn't it?
I love it.
But if you're taking your kids along and they're being told to fuck off by the parrots, I mean, that could do all... I mean, they'll end up with me, won't they, years later in therapy?
They would do, yeah.
I was rejected by a parrot when I was 4. I thought that was good, and it kind of continued the animal theme.
It does, and it does remind me actually of a talking parrot. Another story where I was in a pub in Margate with my brother Russ, and we'd gone down there there was a meeting down there. We'd gone into the pub beforehand, and there was a parrot in there.
Yeah,
and the landlord was called Steve.
Yeah,
I remember this because someone had taught the parrot to say, "Steve's a wanker. Steve's a wanker." And I remember myself and brother found it really amusing. It was very funny at the time. Anyway, back to the subject matter.
Yeah,
preconceived ideas. I mean, the definition is of the preconceived notions, also sometimes referred to as unconscious biases. Are opinions that are formed without any proof or evidence. And examples of that, I suppose, are prejudices, aren't they? We have preconceived ideas and prejudices and stereotypes.
Yep.
And various other unconscious biases, like the food is going to be bad in a terrible looking cafe, for example, and you go in. In fact, we're full of them.
Yeah.
But a good example, and I wanted to come on to that book that I was talking to you about called A Secret Kept, which is a novel written by Tatiana de Rosnay. And she reveals that our preconceived thinking affects our attitudes towards people.
Yeah.
And the story in that explores a son and a daughter's search for info about their mother who had died when they were quite young. And the writing is sort of interdispersed with letters written to the mother by her lover. And many people who read the novel all admitted they were quite surprised to discover that the love letters were sent by a woman. So despite all other clues in the story, the readers assumed that the writer was a man. So that's a preconceived idea, and that's sort of been hardwired into us. That
is classic unconscious bias, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
I mean, unconscious. Can't even say it. Sexism.
No. Yeah, it is. And I think we're getting better at that, aren't we? But I think it's still it's. I think it was a good example.
We're probably getting better at it as a society, but I'm not sure. I think probably as you get older, it's harder for you to shift those sorts of unconscious biases. What is the plural of biases? Biases.
I don't know. But
anybody knows? Can you let us know?
A collective term for a bias.
Yeah. More than one biases. I think it must be biases.
Yeah, you're right. I think you're right as we older, because I suppose it becomes more ingrained.
Well, it's harder to shift, isn't it? Because if you've kind of carried an unconscious bias for 40 years, I mean, two things happen. It's probably harder to shift because you carried it for so long. And secondly, it becomes more and more unconscious the older you get.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right on that. But it is relevant to recovery because there's lots of preconceived ideas about what recovery entails and indeed the type of person that you're likely to encounter. We've talked about my own experience where I really did have preconceived ideas about who I was going to see there. Mm-hmm. And I generally thought it would be those people that I'd witnessed out on the street, living homeless and looking dishevelled, living under the bridges down in Maidstone and that sort of thing. Yeah. And that, obviously that quite clearly wasn't the case. And also, you don't know when you're going to sort of AA meetings or any of the fellowships or any support groups like that, you do have this preconceived ideas that those people are going to be exactly that, sitting around in a circle. But they really aren't. But also, you have to remember that there's people who will be going there, they've been in recovery for years sometimes. So they look like any normal person in society. So you will get some people looking a bit dishevelled, but a lot of the time it's just a sign of their own vulnerability. But you do get people, it wouldn't work if the meeting was run by those people that are new into recovery, because that would be a bit chaotic.
Well, I mean, judging someone for looking dishevelled is an unconscious bias in itself.
It is, yeah.
I often look dishevelled. Yeah. But as you know, I'm a very, fine, upstanding member of society.
Well, again, we don't want to give our listeners preconceived ideas about you. But I think it's also down to some of the information we're fed, which feeds into that narrative that we've already formed, and then we see on the TV. I mean, how alcoholics are often shown as being, especially in some of the American films I've seen, or even if I was watching something, I think it was The In-Betweeners, when they bump into a sort of an alcoholic outside of a nightclub, and then one of them swaps shoes with him because he hasn't got shoes. You can't get him with trainers into the club. And that the person they're showing there, he's got a bottle in his hand, and that's exactly how the alcoholic is stereotyped. And the more we see that, the more it becomes hardwired.
Well, I suppose we do that in dramas because it's easy for people to associate with it, isn't it?
Yes.
If you showed him if there was an episode of The In-Betweeners where he was swapping shoes with a GP,
yeah, it wouldn't be quite as funny.
It would be harder for people to grasp that, even though the incidence of alcoholism amongst GPs is quite high.
It is, yeah.
Or not just GPs. I mean, anyone, as we've discussed before, if you have a job which is particularly stressful, then obviously you're going to be more at risk of struggling with something like alcoholism.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. I don't know where I was going. I don't know where we were going with that, but
don't drag me into your sorry little.
But also, I think the preconceived ideas about how these meetings run as well are fed to us sometimes by inaccuracies on TV and in films.
What do you think people? How do you think people imagine meetings are run? Because that's not something I've ever really thought about. I do imagine people sitting around in a circle or a semicircle talking about their experiences with drink. And if it's an AA meeting, beginning with "My name's Graham, I'm an alcoholic."
Okay, and so what about the building they're in? What do you perceive that as being?
Oh, I imagine that as being all manner of different buildings. Might be a church hall, might be a scout hut, it might be something quite elaborate. I guess it's just depends on what room is available for whichever group you happen to be.
It is. To. I mean, but they're all on TV. It's always shown as a pretty dusty old village hall or something, isn't it? It always looks echoey. There's a big room. They're sat in this circle in the middle. It looks really unwelcoming.
I suppose it is. Yeah, I suppose it is.
But I've been to meetings where, for example, the one at the local priory here is just lovely. The setting, beautiful. And the room is lovely and it's cosy. And you're not sat in a circle. You're sat in sort of rows, or there's sort of the people at the front that are running the meeting are looking towards you, and there's no compulsion to speak. You can just take in the atmosphere, just listen to what people are doing. And it always seems like it's portrayed on the TV. It's this harsh reality, and you get to in films where people they stop wanting to go because they're not comfortable with it and those sort of thing, and it gives a bad impression of it. Because you'll find a really warm welcome at any of those meetings. First thing anyone says, if you say you've got an alcohol issue, you ought to go to AA. That's the only one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the one that people think of most readily, I'm sure, yeah. But I think I think that's less about bias and that's more about ignorance, isn't it? People aren't aware of other options. And actually, I think it's quite difficult to find other options. I can think of lots of times where people have asked me, I feel like I need some help, but I'm not quite sure where to go.
It's almost like an underground system recovery, which is what we try and fight against. We signpost. People that come to our meetings do signpost all the other stuff that's available. People are quite surprised, and we're lucky in Maidstone because we've got a thriving recovery hub. But that's the starting point. There's lots of other options that are available to you once you've been there. It's pointed out, but you don't know until you go. So it is quite hidden. But because the fact some of these prejudices do undermine people's potential for going on there or starting their recovery journey. I know you like that word.
I hate that word. I hate that word.
There are these in fact, actually, that's a good point because you hate the word journey. I hate the band journey. So I would think that I have preconceived ideas. If on the radio I say, right, this is a new track by Journey, I automatically think I'm going to hate it.
Yeah, well, you've got a conscious bias against Journey. There's nothing unconscious about it.
No, so I suppose it's not. But unless I'm speaking out loud, I suppose it's unconscious, just in the back of my mind. But it's a bit like, I remember, because
it's not unconscious if you're aware of it.
No, I suppose not, is it? If it's aware.
It's conscious, isn't it? You don't have to speak it for it to be conscious. If it's unconscious, you're kind of, it's driving your behaviour or your thought, and when you don't really know where it's coming from.
Yes, I'll come on to those in a moment. The conscious biases or the.
It's true though. I'm going to let you know next time there is a new single by Journey. I'm going to tell you it's not by them, and you might say, "Oh, this is quite good."
Well, do you remember that? It's been quite well documented my hatred of all things Genesis.
Yes,
and so I have that sort of bias towards them in whatever form, and anyone that's come out of Genesis, like Phil Collins or Peter Gabriel or Mike Rutherford, I automatically think it's going to be terrible. But I remember there was a single by Genesis, and it was released. It was back in 1978. All right, so my idea about Genesis really was started because there's a guy at school that no one really liked, and all he'd bang on about was Genesis this, Genesis that, and he'd play their albums in the sixth year common room and this sort of thing. And everyone sort of got this hatred towards them. But I remember there was a single they brought out called Follow You, Follow Me, and it was in 1978, so I looked it up. And I really liked it. And so there I had this bias towards them, and that perhaps was unfounded. But to be honest, I haven't liked anything they've done since 1978. I didn't like anything they did before that, so it was just a blip.
Well, you can't, in which case it's not accurate for you to say you don't like Genesis, is it? You can only say, I don't like Genesis on the whole. On the whole, yes. But there was one bright spot in 1978.
Yeah, that I quite liked.
Exactly. That is a good song, though.
There is, but again, that's about judging, really, isn't it? Judging.
Yeah, so that's where, in your case, it's about being narrow-minded.
Yeah, I suppose so. But I remember, not narrow-minded, just I'd made up my idea about them before. I sort of judged them. But because going back to Gang, we mentioned her earlier on about the Bible and that, because she used to say, if we were talking about people, she used to say to us in Matthew 7, do not judge, or you too will be judged. And that was one that, and although she used to have the King James Bible version, which was more complicated than that. I remember she used to tell us stuff that we didn't understand, but it meant to say, lest ye be, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, she wanted to get right into the bones of it, didn't she?
She wanted to get into the bones of it on the King James Bible, but she also had this Gateway Bible, they called it, which she used to show us the verses in there because it made it easier to understand. So she's quite keen on that we followed down that route. She
was probably one of these people that felt that religion shouldn't be easy.
Yeah, I think you had to work at it to fully appreciate it.
Yeah, which is true of most things, isn't it, to be honest? I mean, it's true of recovery. You have to work at it for it to be
exactly right,
effective.
When I was researching this, it came up with two types of cognitive biases. And the concept of cognitive bias was introduced by this chap called Daniel Kahneman. Kahneman, is that Kahneman? Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't read what I'd written down there, and I couldn't pronounce that correctly. So you've obviously heard of the chap.
I have, yeah. He wrote a really great book called Thinking Fast and Slow.
That's right. Well, he distinguishes between two cognitive mechanisms for decision making in that. I haven't read the book, but I just read this little extract from it, where he talks about fast thinking, which uses mental shortcuts, and slow thinking, which uses reasoning. And cognitive bias are examples of fast thinking. I've put biases down there. So I
think we've decided that the plural of bias is biases.
Yeah, examples of fast thinking, again, stereotyping by the way people look. And we've all done that, haven't we? If someone comes charging towards you with a skinhead haircut and tattoos and that, probably going to be a little bit scared, aren't you?
Yeah, I think where it becomes more sort of nuanced is, so if you had a skinhead running towards you, then you might feel threatened by that. Okay, and you'd know why, wouldn't you? You'd know why, because there'd been this kind of, you might have grown up fearing that kind of group of people. Yeah. But there's a kind of more nuanced reaction that we can have to things, which is so for instance, if you take against someone and you're not quite sure why, and they happen to be wearing a cream coloured sweater, example, it could be that actually what you're doing is you're associating that person with someone that you knew in the past. So maybe you had a parent who wasn't very nice to you, and they used to have a cream coloured sweater. So that's one of the other things we do. We kind of store all this stuff up in our heads, and then we take against someone and we think, I don't really know why I don't like that person, but I don't like them. And it might be, because unconsciously we've dragged up this information from our past and we're associating it with this thing or this person that we're experiencing, and it pushes us, in the opposite direction, or it makes us think that that's someone that we don't want to be around. So obviously those sorts of biases are much more difficult to identify because, without kind of doing some proper excavation, we don't really know where they've come from.
No, but I mean, that's sort of evolved then, hasn't it? That sort of thinking over time. It's probably part of our evolutionary process, I'd imagine, as part of the survival mechanism.
It is what it is. It's like, if something happens to us, everything that happens to us, we store in our mind somewhere. And so every time we have a new experience, our brains go through its filing cabinet. So if we've seen anything like this before, and if it finds something, it will make the assumption in the absence of other information that it's the same. Yeah. So it's the reason why, I don't know, sometimes people have difficulty public speaking because at school they were asked to make a presentation, they messed it up and everybody laughed at them. Right, yeah. And, if it's 20 years later and you say, I can't understand why I can't stand up in front of people in meetings and talk about stuff. If you can understand that thing happened to you originally, then you can draw a line between, well, at that point, your emotional brain decided, right, we better avoid situations where we need to get up and speak because it's embarrassing and people take the piss out of us. Because your emotional brain doesn't do grey, it does black or white. It says, is this good or is this bad? It's bad, let's try and stay away from it. It's kind of where anxiety comes from, essentially.
When talking about that book by Daniel, how do you call him? Kahneman?
Well, I call him Kahneman. When
you read someone's name, sometimes you preconceived idea what they look like, don't you?
Yeah, what do you think he looks like? Actually, I can't think what he looks like now.
No.
Whenever I think of him, I always see him with glasses and a bald head, but I'm not sure that he looks like that at all.
Well, that's what I'm seeing right now for the chap, yeah.
I'm going to check while you're talking.
But he was, it's a shortcut, isn't it? We use these preconceived ideas. It's a shortcut. It's a time-saving thing, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it is. It's a time-saving thing, which is necessary, obviously, in terms of the way that our brains process information, but it's not always accurate.
No, that's
it's not always in our best interests.
No, but again, that's evolved, isn't it? Because we were out on the plains, you'd quickly have to sort out that a leopard's potentially going to hurt you, and you have a preconcept. He might just wander aimlessly past.
Deaf leopard.
Def leopard are going to harm you, that's for sure.
Def leopard would certainly harm you, wouldn't they?
To harm my ears, that's for sure.
Well, I'm pleased to say he is a balding man with glasses. So
is he?
I unconsciously had a picture of him in my head.
Yeah.
And when I requested my unconscious to bring up that image for me, it went through its filing cabinet and it did a good job. So
it did.
There you go. Well done, brain.
It does work. Well, they reckon that we make about 80% of our decisions use these energy-saving shortcuts, which is a lot, isn't it? We're on autopilot with their thoughts a lot of the time. And again, especially as you get older, there's more stuff in your filing cabinet, isn't there, to call on?
I mean, it's amazing, really, that our brains can work like that.
It is. It is. But I think that, there's obvious dangers. I think that although we use it for survival, do you think perhaps we miss out on stuff? Like we can miss out on opportunities?
Yeah, sure.
When you look on YouTube and you look at Susan Boyle, for example, and Paul Potts,
yeah,
where they shuffled onto the stage and we thought, they're going to be shit. They're not going to be very good. Because we had the way they looked.
Yeah,
Susan Boyle didn't look like someone who's going to be able to sing properly, and Paul Potts certainly didn't look like he was going to be an opera singer.
No,
with his ill-fitting suit and his really shy demeanour, and then suddenly there's these two wonderful voices came out.
Yeah.
So I think that's so we can miss out on people's potential, can't we, if we prejudge them?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's. And I'll come on to that a little bit in a moment. But I think also I was looking at things about the fact we have preconceived ideas about ourselves. I've certainly done that when I think I'm not good enough for a particular task. And I know we talked about it before. You look at putting up a shelf and you think, I'm not going to be able to do it. You have a preconceived idea that you're going to fail or be good at it. I think you've tried it and you've been okay, haven't you? So it was a preconceived idea.
Yeah, I mean, that's a kind of allied to that point you were making, I think, about the way that our brains work. Because using me as an example with my very limited DIY skills, the only way I've ever been able to circumnavigate that is to recognize that belief about myself is something that I hold, and to be kind of supportive and gentle with myself while I resist it.
Right, okay.
So it'd be very easy. Two things would be easy for me. One, avoid it because I know I'm rubbish at it. Or two, try it believing that I'm going to be rubbish at it and muck it up. Whereas the only real way that works is to recognize my limitations are largely coming from my beliefs about myself. And the greater the extent to which I can mitigate those, the more chance I've got of having some sort of success. Yeah. So if you're thinking about that in the context of, should I go into recovery? I don't know if I want to go into recovery because I've got all these preconceived ideas. You have to recognize the same thing. Well, you could not do it and carry on as you are, or you could lumber into it holding on to those beliefs, and then you'll prove them right because all you'll be doing will be looking for all the evidence that proves that you're right about how shit recovery is. Yeah. Or you can take the more difficult path, which is, right, I've got to try and force myself to keep an open mind and look at everything on its merits and consider it in a balanced way and recognize that it will be easy for me to notice all the reasons why I think I'm right, but I might need to work a little bit harder to find all the reasons why I'm maybe not got an accurate picture of this. Does that make sense? Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. I'm trying to relate that back to people I've known that have come into recovery and looking for reasons why they're going to fail. And I think they have preconceived ideas, again, about themselves on that. It's not just the fact that that the recovery is a tricky path. I think there's definite doubts about their own ability before they even started. That would definitely be true because the one thing about humans, well, one of the things that's true about humans is we don't want to be wrong. And so if we hold a belief about something, even if it's a negative belief about ourselves, we'll move heaven and earth to prove that we're right. Yeah. And so if you recognize that in yourself, if you think I'm useless, you're going to find all the reasons why, all the reasons that you can prove that you are useless. But the thing that you really need to be doing is looking out for all the pieces of little evidence that suggest that you're not. Write them down, keep hold of them. You need to do the same thing about recovery. If you think recovery is going to be awful, uncomfortable, you're going to be surrounded by terrible people, okay, they're the things you believe. Now you need to write down all the things that you didn't expect. Oh, actually, it's quite supportive. People are really kind. People are friendly. It's a really nice environment to be in. There's nice biscuits with tea. Whatever it is, you have to keep hold of those because they're the things that ultimately will overturn your rather limiting and unhelpful beliefs. Yeah, and that's exactly right. I remember one of the guys that came into groups who wouldn't speak. He had a very ruddy complexion. He looked like quite a typical alcoholic because you would stereotype someone. Yep. And he didn't really want to engage, looked like he didn't want to be there. And he turned out he was a doctor of psychology, and he was a magnificent guy. He just needed to find his feet.
But if we'd have just put him into this box and thought he's wasting he's wasting his own time here, wasting everyone's, we'd never have found this person with true beauty underneath. It was bizarre, and I hold on to things like that to have hope going forward.
But this speaks to something that you said to me in the past, which is, so that guy who came into recovery, he had the intellect to take things at his own pace. Right? Yeah. So he's there, he knows what he's there for, and he's not trying to force something that isn't going to come quicker than it is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you said to me before that certainly one of the things that seems to make recovery easier for some people is to be able to grasp it intellectually.
Yes.
What does this require of me? And when I say grasp it intellectually, I don't mean you've got to be smart or intelligent.
No.
You've got to have the intelligence to know that this won't be, I'm going to walk in, crash, bang, wallop, I'm better.
Mm.
And you've got to be able to take it at your own pace, whatever that means. And the more you're able to embrace that, I think this is the message I've taken from you, the more you're able to embrace that, the more chance you're going to have of long-term sobriety.
Absolutely right. And that's just built on experience of being in many groups over the years. So that it does come true. But I think it's the hope situation as well that I see when I see people now that I perhaps wouldn't have had before. Mm-hmm. But that was I've worked through that preconceived idea that I had about people that come into recovery. But I think it's all beautifully summed up by a line from The Great Gatsby.
Another great book.
Another great book. But it was, I came across, I've not read The Great Gatsby or watched the film even, but it was used in the epilogue of a book that I have read called Unfollow. Mm-hmm. Now, Unfollow is written by Megan Phelps Roper, who left the Westboro Baptist Church.
Mm.
It was they were very much a hate group, weren't they? And then she came away from that. And in the epilogue in her book, there's just a very simple line that says, "Reserving judgment is a matter of infinite hope." And it encapsulates the idea of grace, or the ability to look at other people as human beings, even in their worst moments, and acknowledge that there's hope that they can change and grow and evolve. If there's anything else you wanted to put in at this point, we can go on to the gratitude lists.
No, let's crack on. I mean, it's Easter Sunday. There's chocolate to eat, isn't there?
Well,
especially
that was
for me. I haven't eaten any for flipping 6 weeks.
Of course. Does Lent end today then? Is that it?
Yeah, yes, of course it does.
I don't know when
it goes on till.
I don't know. Well, I didn't know when the 40 days started and finished, to be honest.
You want to get I wish Gang was still alive. She'd have a word with you. It's a disgrace. All of those years of her presence in your life. What have you taken from it? You don't even know where bloody Lent ends.
I don't. I know quite a lot of biblical verses and stuff, and where to find stuff in the Bible, but right. I don't really know about the things like Easter always confuses me that it falls on a different day, and I don't get it really.
Oh yeah, I can't. I'm not up to speed with all of the ins and outs of the liturgical calendar.
Ooh, I like that word.
Liturgical.
Yeah.
I think that's right. Is it the liturgical calendar?
What is that? Religious calendar, or is it just for Christians? Or
I think so. I've got to look it up now. Bloody hell. Right. The liturgical calendar it marks the church year, a sequence of seasons and feasts celebrated in the liturgy during a year's time. The liturgical calendar uses terms and measurements similar to a typical calendar. So I'm pleased to say that I was absolutely spot on.
You were. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, great, good. What else are you grateful for?
What I'm grateful for is that the second series of The Cleaner was on, which I hadn't seen, and I suddenly came across it, and I thought I didn't even realise there was a second series being filmed. So The Cleaner with Greg Davis was just fabulous. So I was grateful to stumble across that and start to watch it.
Have you binged it?
No, I haven't actually. No, it's one of those there's only 6 episodes, I think, so I'll eke it out.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? It's an odd sort of sitcom.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, but quite good. Darkly amusing.
It's dark humour, yeah. But it's I was grateful for that. I was also grateful for Easter eggs as well, I suppose, so I can have a bit of a chocolate binge at some point.
Have you got some Easter eggs then?
I have, yes.
Have you? Mm-hmm. What kind have you got?
Maltesers.
Oh, nice. Maltesers. Yeah. Got to love a Malteser, haven't you?
They're my favourite chocolates. Are they?
Are they?
Yeah.
What, top 3 chocolates? That would be number 1, would it?
They're
Maltesers?
way up there. It'd certainly be in my top 3. Yeah, Malteser.
I think they'd probably be in my top 3.
Yeah, I like the way they melt into the mouth into the honeycomb in the middle.
I like that too, but the only problem is if you suck a Malteser, if you eat a whole bag, they get to the point where they do start to make your mouth sore. The roof. They do
make your mouth sore. Yeah, you can feel a little bit sick as well. But that's what I do that with chocolate a lot. Eat till I feel sick, which is not good.
Well, don't try not to.
I'm trying not to. What are you grateful for then?
I'm grateful for the weather turning a little bit, so that I've been able to plant some of my vegetable seeds. Yeah. I mean, indoors for the things like peppers and tomatoes and cucumbers, because it's too cold outside. It's been frost this past couple of days.
I know, yeah.
And then other things that are a little bit more hardy in the raised beds. Whenever I'm planting my seeds, it always feels as if spring is properly underway.
Okay.
And then in about 5 or 6 weeks, when we're getting to late May, June, I'll be complaining about it being too hot and be desperate for the autumn and some rain again.
Yeah, you will be. You'll be one of those negative people to be around. You'll be draining my battery with your weather nonsense.
I will be as soon as it gets above sort of 22 degrees. That's far too hot, isn't it, for anybody? Ridiculous.
No, I think that's a starting point.
It's ridiculous. And the dogs don't like it either.
Yeah, true. Right.
Good.
Days of the year. Well, it's Easter, isn't it? What today? What I'd need to say no more really about days of the year. Again, it's the highlight of the liturgical calendar.
Very good. You see, you've learnt a new word.
I have learnt a new word. I've used it already. I'm delighted with myself. But it's also National Unicorn Day, which...
What?
Yeah, I know, which seems a bit almost blasphemous in a way.
National Unicorn Day?
Yeah.
But a unicorn is a mythical creature. Well,
I don't want to go... Need I say more?
Who started National Unicorn Day then?
I don't know. It's a concept that's been around for... I mean, the ancient Greeks actually believed in unicorns, didn't they? Because we're in foreign lands that hadn't been found yet. So they started off as a creature that people really did believe in, and it's only become mythical when we've been around the world. We've searched.
We've had a look for them, haven't we?
We've had a look, and we can't find any unicorns. So that's it. Yeah.
Now, I don't think we should. I don't think we should give it any more airtime than it
any more credence. No, especially on Easter.
Exactly.
Especially on Easter Day, where we should be a bit more
circumspect.
Yeah, that's a good word as well, isn't it? Yeah. On this day in music,
yeah,
and not a great deal on this, but I know in 1946.
Wow.
I know, going back, Les Gray from Mud was born. Now
was he?
He was. Yeah.
Wow. Is he dead now?
He is dead. Yeah. But I remember. I only put that in because I looked and said, Les Gray, because I remember seeing Mud at the Weirton Manor Club in Bourton Chelsea, just up the road.
Did you?
It was called Les Gray's Mud. It was just Les Gray. There's no one else of the other Mud people were still around. But it was good enough.
Apart from Tiger Feet, did you know any of the songs?
Yes, of course.
Lonely This Christmas, did they do that?
Of course, yeah, they did a lot of their stuff.
Do you know any others apart from those two? I can't think of any other songs.
Cat Crept In.
Oh, yeah, Cat Crept In, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
What on earth possessed you to go and see Les Gray's Mud?
Well, I remember it because it was my brother and his girlfriend at the time that later became his wife wanted to go. Mm-hmm. And they said, we'll pay for you to go if you can drive us. Mm-hmm. And so I went up to watch them. And they were terrific. They were really good. But I also remember, so I wasn't that old. I was only about 18 at the time, remembering I'm not going to be able to have a drink myself.
I was just wondering about that.
Yeah. And so even then I was thinking I'm not going to enjoy it. I had a preconceived idea about if I was going to enjoy it or not.
Did you?
I did, in fact, in the end. But I remember struggling, drinking a couple of shandies and thinking, this is not a bit of me, really.
Little did you know what was to follow.
I know. If I'd have just sorted myself out then, hey.
Yeah. Right. So are we done?
Yes, very much.
I can see people out of my window all streaming to mass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going?
No, I'm going to eat some chocolate.
Good on you, mate. Okay.
Right. Well, I'll see you next time.
Take it easy.
Laters.
Bye.
Bye. Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work or sort through the extensive archive of past episodes, just visit grahamlandywellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Sideways Podcast, and you can email us if you have a question or if there's something you'd like us to cover. But most of all, we want to tell you how grateful we are that you come and listen, and we ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week.